What happens when a horror movie creates a killer? In late September 2006, Idaho teenager Cassie Jo Stoddart becomes the victim of a crime inspired by the movie Scream.
Well, it's startling. You have a copycat crime, but you also have these details which really do mirror the film.
She's house sitting alone. The power goes out, and there's a masked killer hiding somewhere in the dark.
An innocent young victim.
Who's there?
Stabbed 29 times.
I really pondered on what kind of animal could come in and do this to her.
The elements of Scream are all there, and it's all happening to Cassie Jo.
How does a 16-year-old girl become the victim of a gruesome copycat crime? In 1996, teenagers flocked to the cinema to see one of the decade's most iconic horror movies, Scream.
The movie was wildly popular, did over $100 million at the box office, and made huge stars out of the cast.
But what it really did was blur the lines between reality and fantasy within the movie itself.
In the film, a psychopathic killer in a ghost face mask terrorized a town and targeted a young teenage girl. A decade later, in Idaho, the movie would inspire a real-life killer and result in the murder of 16-year-old Cassie Jo Stoddart.
Cassie Jo Stoddart had been stabbed close to 30 times. For some reason, sometime that weekend, an assailant in a white mask, just like in the movie Scream, targeted, stalked, and murdered her.
I've certainly been involved in several homicides and investigations, and this one was, particularly brutal.
For 5 days, detectives Andy Thomas and John Gansk searched for the murderer, and through police interrogations, uncovered a bloody bag of evidence.
I really pondered on who could do this to her. What kind of animal could come in and do this to her? What kind of person were we going to be finding during the investigation?
The truth would be chilling. Cassie Jo Stoddart was born in Pocatello, Idaho on the 21st of December, 1989. Raised in a warm and loving home, Cassie adored animals and had dreams of becoming a lawyer.
All the information we ever received concerning Cassie was that she was a good person, she was a good student, and she was just, genuinely kind to everyone.
She was a bright high school student who planned to attend university.
Hey, look, it's Cassie. Hey, look, hello, Cassie.
This home video was recorded on the morning of Friday the 22nd of September, 2006.
Say hi, please. Hi. Okay, see ya.
Cassie had agreed to house sit for her aunt that weekend. Tragically, her relatives returned home on Sunday morning to discover Cassie's body. The distraught family called the police, who quickly began to scour the crime scene for forensic evidence.
Initially on the scene, we didn't have a whole lot of evidence.
A lot of robbery scenes that we'll go to, you'll see where drawers have been pulled out, cupboards have been gone through. Things like that are indicators that somebody is looking for valuables. This scene is very tidy. It's as if Cassie had been in the living room and had been violently attacked, and the attacker left.
Police retraced the last few hours of Cassie's life and discovered that she had not been alone on Friday night. Her boyfriend, Matt Beckham, had been with her. Cassie and Matt had been dating for 4 months and appeared to be a happy, typical teenage couple. But statistically, nearly a quarter of all female murder victims are slain by their partner.
Once we'd gotten that information, obviously, he became a very serious person of interest.
Officers questioned Matt about the events of Friday night.
Well, all of this initially is a fact-finding mission. There's certain key elements that we want to know. Obviously, when did he leave Cassie? Did they have a fight? Was there any marks on him? Did I see anything to indicate that he'd been in a fight with her? And kind of a little bit about his character. What is his character telling us?
Matt, I need you to help me understand what happened 2 nights ago.
Cassie Jo was house sitting for her aunt, and I got there a little after 6.
Matt gave his statement about that night and how Cassie had been alone in the house.
Hello? When are you coming over?
I'll be there as soon as I can. What kind of movie do you...
Matt? Hello?
The whole case was just very sad, and you couldn't feel sorry enough for what Cassie must have gone through that particular night, because what she lived out was the death of a horror movie.
Just like Scream, one of the quintessential movies about a girl being terrorized in the dark.
When we can't see, we feel lost. We feel kind of in danger. We feel vulnerable. Or we think about childhood when we're in the dark, afraid of the monster underneath our bed that might be coming out of the closet.
You asshole! What are you doing?
I couldn't resist. Ow!
You scared me.
Sorry.
Matt told the police that he arrived at the house early on Friday evening.
We were there alone for a while, and so we started watching TV.
But they were only alone for about an hour.
Brian, Tori, how you doing, man? Hey, man.
Tori Adamczyk and a Brian Draper, 2 classmates at Pocatello High School, had visited the residence that evening.
I said they could come over, you know, since we were there alone, so we all watched a movie.
According to Matt, they had just watched a movie together, and nothing unusual had happened that evening.
We're gonna go catch a movie.
Yeah.
He said that Brian and Tori left the house about an hour later. They told Matt and Cassie that they were going to see a movie at the cinema.
So, what do you want to do now?
What was that?
Power's out. It's probably just a breaker.
According to Matt, around 10 p.m., the power goes out, plunging the house into darkness.
Do you have a flashlight? Thank you.
I can't think of anything more cliche in a horror movie than the power going out. But you know what? It really did.
Where are you going?
I gotta go pop the breaker. It'll take 2 seconds.
Are you crazy? Don't leave me here alone.
Do you want to come to the creepy basement with me? Here. Take my lighter. You'll be fine. Okay? I'll be right back.
breaker? Matt, that worked.
So take me back a step or two. So the power went out. What did you do after the power went out?
I went to the basement and...
After the incident with the power, Matt asked his mother if he could stay the night with Cassie for her safety.
Well, she's freaked out and I thought it would be cool if I could stay over.
According to Matt, his mother would not give him permission to stay the night. She picked him up and took him straight home, where he remained for the rest of the night.
Matt, do you understand my problem here is that you were the last person to see Cassie Jo alive?
Yeah.
She was stabbed 30 times.
Matt's mother confirmed that he had been at home all night from 10:30. What the police didn't know was if he'd left Cassie alive or dead.
You gotta help me understand who did this. You gotta help me figure this out. You cared for this girl, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, he could be lying to us. Well, certainly the fact that he's leaving the house just before she is killed bothers me.
To establish if Matt was lying or telling the truth about Cassie's murder, police carried out a polygraph test.
Is your name Matt Beckham? Was Cassie Jo Stoddard your girlfriend? How many friends came over to watch a movie that night? How many times did the power go out? What time did you arrive at the house? Did your mother pick you up? What time did you arrive at your house? Did you speak to Cassie Jo on the phone? Matt, did you kill Cassie Jo Stoddard?
In Wes Craven's Scream, a psychopath in a ghost face mask terrorized a town and targeted a teenage girl. On Friday night in Pocatello, Idaho, in 2006, someone was copying the film. 16-year-old Cassie Jo Stoddard was house-sitting alone when she became the target of a gruesome copycat killer.
You hear people say it all the time. I feel like I'm in a horror movie. Well, 16-year-old Cassie Jo, she really was. Scream was the blueprint and Cassie Jo, the victim.
Police began their investigation by questioning the last person who'd been with Cassie, her boyfriend, Matt Beckham. The first suspect in the movie Scream was also the boyfriend.
You have a copycat crime, but you also have these details which really do mirror the film.
Matt insisted that he went straight home after visiting Cassie and remained there for the rest of the evening. He agreed to undergo a polygraph test.
You know, I felt that we were going to get the truth out of him, one way or the other.
Is your name Matt Beckham? What time did you arrive? Did your mother pick you up from the house? What time did you arrive? Did you kill Cassie Jo Stoddard?
The results indicated that Matt Beckham was telling the truth.
It obviously became paramount that we go talk to the other two individuals who'd been at the house with him.
They turned their investigation towards Brian Draper and Tori Adamczyk. The two teenagers were classmates of Cassie and Matt and had spent time in the house on the night that Cassie was murdered. Police brought them in for questioning.
Brian, what happened 2 nights ago?
I don't know. My friend Tori picked me up, drove me over to Cassie's house.
Hey, Brian, Tori, how you doing, man?
Brian and Tori both said that they arrived at the house around 8:30 p.m.
Brian told us that they were just hanging out with them.
Where's the bathroom?
They had watched a movie and that they had eaten popsicles and just kind of general activity for young teenagers.
Yeah, we're gonna go catch a movie.
We left to go watch a movie at the theater and then we went home and went to bed.
Bye.
The boys' versions of events seemed to corroborate Matt's story, and their alibis appeared to be rock solid. They even still had the ticket stubs from their trip to the cinema. Police feared that they had reached a dead end in their search for the identity of the killer, who had been in the house with Cassie that night.
Come on. Hello? Who's there? Matt?
Cassie was murdered around 11 p.m. when Matt Beckham was at home, and Brian and Tori were across town at the cinema.
We have no idea what actually happened that night. I can only imagine it was terrifying.
It was upsetting to see something like this take place in our community to someone so young, and it seemed, to us to be so senseless of a crime.
Police had interviewed the 3 people who had last seen Cassie alive, and all of them had alibis. Then they got an unexpected break in the case.
Here they are in the interrogation, and they're just going to ask one more question, something tough, something unexpected. You know what they ask? How was the movie?
I don't know. It's just
It's a horror flick, man.
What was the movie about?
I couldn't tell you.
Who was in the movie?
I just remember being really bored.
They've got ticket stubs, they've got the perfect alibi. There's only one problem here. These film geeks can't tell them anything about the movie. There is something wrong here.
You can't tell me anything about this movie? It was 2 nights ago. You're a film guy.
What 16-year-old kid, we're talking the night before, doesn't remember what movie you went to? That's ludicrous. It's not going to happen.
How could you sit here and not be able to tell me what the movie was about? This is our problem. I do not believe your story. What aren't you telling me, Brian?
All right. So we didn't see a movie.
I'll be darned if he doesn't come back with, you're right, it is a lie. I was lying to you because I was doing something very bad.
What did you do?
Here's where the story takes another turn. The boys separately indict themselves, but on a matter far less serious than what the police are investigating.
Getting some cars.
What do you mean, got into some cars?
Getting into some cars. You bump up against a car and see if it's open.
He explained to us that the reason why he told us they went to a movie because, in fact, they were actually breaking into cars in the area.
You were boosting stuff out of the cars.
I could just feel the air just leaving me. I thought, there goes our lead.
Tori had insisted that he and Brian were both home by 11:30 p.m., and had remained there for the rest of the evening. But this new story destroyed their alibi. The detectives believed this was the exact same window of time in which Cassie Jo Stoddart had been killed in the dark house at Whispering Cliffs. p.m. on the 22nd of September 2006. Teenager Cassie Jo Stoddart was house-sitting alone when the power went off and she heard strange noises coming from the basement.
Imagine Cassie Jo in the dark. She cannot see. She's hearing noises. And anxiety, fear, panic, and chaos has completely kind of set in for her at that point.
You've got this terrible, terrible thing playing out. It's gruesome, it's terrible. It feels like a horror movie, but this thing is real.
Two days later, Cassie's body was discovered. She'd been stabbed.
Really, all we had thus far in the investigation was people that had been with Cassie shortly before her death.
Her boyfriend, Matt Beckham, was eliminated as a suspect after he passed a polygraph test. The investigation now focused on two of Cassie's friends from school, Brian Draper and Tori Adamczyk.
We don't know how they play into this. We just had to keep interviewing them and finding as much evidence that we could.
Initially, they both claimed to have been at the cinema, but then they changed their story and said they'd spend the evening breaking into cars.
If the boys say that they were breaking into cars between 10:30 and 11:30 p.m., then we have to look into it, because maybe they were just breaking into cars.
We've got problems here.
The police come back to the boys and tell them there have been no reports of any car break-ins during the last 24-hour period. Their stories are not credible. So where were they?
Neither Brian Draper nor Tori Adamczyk were able to account for their whereabouts during the time of Cassie's murder. They were now officially prime suspects.
We did not want to believe that Brian and Tori could do this. But we couldn't ignore not only that they're lying to us, but they're lying to us at the exact time frame that we believe Cassie is killed.
Circumstantial evidence pointed to Brian and Tori, but detectives Thomas and Gansk needed solid proof. They consulted the forensic pathologist.
There are certain things that take place on a corpse that we couldn't possibly know.
I look at the wounds on her chest.
Talking with the pathologist, we were able to determine that Cassie was stabbed a minimum of 29 times. We asked him if he could tell us what caused the injuries to Cassie, and he specifically could see two different type of knife patterns on her body.
Tori, let's talk about knives. You like knives? I hear you collect them.
I have 3 knives.
You have one Friday night?
No.
The post-mortem showed that Cassie's wounds were caused by a serrated blade and a non-serrated blade. Either Tori had attacked her with 2 different types of knife, or there were 2 separate killers. Forensic evidence indicated that there were 2 killers. Armed with this information, Police began to question Brian and Tori's testimony and weak alibi. They were sure that there was something they were hiding.
Our suspicion began to peak. We began to press them in the interview and began to more, aggressively confront them.
Sure you didn't circle back to Cassie Joe's house?
No, I did not.
You see why this doesn't make sense to me? Matt is in the clear. He was home. But you and Brian, we don't know where you were. So tell me what happened.
Can I talk to an attorney?
By law, we are required to not ask him any further questions at this point.
Okay.
But the next day, when police arrived at the station, Brian Draper was waiting for them.
I was told that Brian had come into the office, that he was crying, and he was with his parents, and they seemed to be very emotional as well. That's a good sign in our world that if somebody is visibly upset, then chances are that they're probably going to tell you the truth.
Tell me what happened.
We didn't go to the movie.
Who's we?
Tori and me.
Uh-huh.
We went back to the house.
They had left Cassie's house. They had gone down around the corner, and both of them had taken out knives that they had purchased a while back. They went back to Cassie's house.
We went in the basement and we put on some masks, like white with stuff on them. I thought it would look cool.
Brian told the police that they had crept upstairs together, but it was Tori who had stabbed Cassie to death. Brian claimed he'd only watched.
I certainly don't believe Brian's version. I believe that the two of them killed Cassie. I believe that they're both equally as involved in it as the other person.
Despite Brian's confession, detectives were unable to make a solid case without physical evidence.
The problem that we had was we knew that they'd already been in the house. So some of the evidence that we look for, hairs and fibers, fingerprints, DNA from fingerprints, those kind of things, they were going to be a moot point for us.
The break they needed came during Brian's final interrogation.
And took all the stuff, the knives, the black shirts, the masks, and we put it in a plastic bag and we hid it in the woods. I can take you there.
Brian told us where they had gotten rid of some evidence of the crime and buried it in a remote location south of town.
The police unearthed a nightmarish collection of hard evidence.
The boys stashed everything there. Masks, knives, one with a serrated blade, one with a straight blade.
They also found one other thing that none of us expected to find, and that was a videotape. When we found that videotape, all of us pretty much got sick, thinking that you don't think these two kids actually videotaped the death of Cassie.
As police watched the tape, they were horrified to see that in the days leading up to Cassie's murder, Brian and Tori had filmed their plans.
Evil of origin is a follower of fucking Satan.
There is no Satan.
Real? Then shut up.
Then how are we supposed to express ourselves?
Good and bad.
We're bad.
We're bad.
That sounds so shitty.
We're evil. That sounds even shittier.
We're not, okay? They were sick psychopaths do not get pleasure of killing other people.
That sounds good, baby.
We're gonna be just like Scream, except real life terms.
That
we're gonna be
sounds
murderers.
good, baby.
In September 2006, in Pocatello, Idaho, high school students Brian Draper and Tori Adamczyk imitated the movie Scream when they killed their friend Cassie Jo Stoddart. During the investigation, they led police to a bag of evidence which included a self-shot video.
We're sick psychopaths do not get pleasure of killing other people. We're gonna be just like Scream, except real life terms.
I think the first time I viewed the tape, it was with several other investigators, and I think that you could have heard a pin drop in that room, and I think that everybody was shocked of what we viewed on that tape.
Story, September 22nd, 2006. Brian is supposed to happen tonight. So hopefully I can move along. Everything will go smoothly and we can get our first kill done. I'm sorry. I'm sorry Cassie's family, but she had to be number one. We have to stick with the plan. And she's perfect, so she's gonna die.
Well, the tape, was breathtaking. I've been in law enforcement for 22 years now, and I have never in my life seen anything that can even come close to the videotape that we had in this case. And I'll probably never see it again.
We found our victim, and sad as it may be, she's our friend. But you know what? We all have to make sacrifices.
What these videotapes really show are two individuals who are highly psychopathic.
She's gonna be alone in a big, dark house out in the middle of nowhere. How perfect can you get? I mean, like, holy shit, dude.
I'm horny just thinking about it.
Hell yeah.
You can see in the dialogue going back and forth between these two kids that they feed off of each other and they try to up the ante on one another.
So we're gonna fucking kill her and her friends, and we're gonna keep moving on. It's gonna be extra fun.
You're evil.
Yes, I am.
They have no conscience, or appear to have no conscience, lack of remorse. They get off on killing. And it really speaks to the fact that these are two mentally unstable individuals.
As Brian and Tori made the fateful drive towards the house at Whispering Cliffs, their horrifying plan was revealed.
We're going to make history. People will die. Now we're gonna go over to Cassie and Matt's house. We'll sneak in through the door because chances are they're probably in Cassie's room. So we'll sneak in the front door. We'll make a noise outside, and Matt will come out, investigate, kill him, and it will scare the shit out of Cassie. Okay? Well,
sounds like fun.
Where's the bathroom?
Down the hall.
When interrogated by the police, Brian said that earlier that night he had unlocked the back door. Then at around 9:30 p.m., Brian and Tori announced that they were leaving for the cinema.
Brian and Tori say they're going to the movie theater, but really, they just circle the block and double back.
The time is 9:50.
At that point, they start videotaping again.
Unfortunately, we have the grueling task of killing our two friends. And they are right in that house just down the street.
We just talked to them. We were there for an hour. But
we checked out the whole house. We know there's lots of doors. There's lots of places to hide. I unlocked the back doors, so it's all locked.
Brian and Tori turned off their video camera and crept into the basement.
They've got any variety of horror movie tricks they want to try. And the first one, well, kill the power.
What was that?
Power's out. It's probably just a breaker. I'll be right back.
It worked.
Matt Beckham's curfew that night probably saved his life. Emboldened by the fact that Cassie was now alone, Brian and Tori continued with their plan.
I think what haunts me about the case is just the last few moments or minutes of Cassie's life. Where my heart hurts for her is how painful it was. You know, and how scared she must have been right before she lost her life. And, you know, I often think of that, about how did she feel, you know, how scared must she have been before this happened.
We just killed Cassie. We just left her house. This is not a fucking joke.
I'm shaking.
I stabbed her in the throat and I saw her lifeless body just disappear. Dude, I just killed Cassie. Oh, fuck. That felt like it wasn't real. I mean, it went by so fast.
Shut the fuck up. We gotta get our act straight.
It's okay. Okay, well, let's buy movie tickets now.
Okay.
Come on. Goodbye.
No.
Goodbye.
The confession and forensic evidence linked the two different knives to the different types of stab wounds on Cassie's body. Police now arrested Brian Draper and Tori Adamczyk. During the trial, the people of Pocatello searched for a deeper meaning behind the crime. But no clear motive was ever revealed.
End of Scream, Billy and Stu are revealed to be the killers. And they're asked, what's the motive? We don't need a motive. Hannibal Lecter didn't have a motive. Norman Bates didn't have a motive. Like Billy says, it's scarier when there's no motive, Sid. Sadly, that's probably the same thing that Brian and Tori would have said.
So we might not know exactly why Brian and Tori killed Cassie and Joe, but we might begin to think that they committed this murder for a sense of fame, for a sense of notoriety.
I've always wanted to make a mark on the world, and this is a good way to do it.
To be that front page media story. Scream was a huge hit, and to some degree, these two individuals wanted to copy what they saw in that film and be kind of their own stars in their own way.
Both Brian and Tori testified that the murder had always been the other's idea. They turned on each other just as the killers in Scream did. And their defense lawyers argued that the videos were only make-believe.
There should be no law against killing people. I know it's a wrong thing, but hell, you restrict somebody from it, they're gonna want it more.
Exactly.
What we got to see with Brian and Tori was just how evil they really are.
On the morning of Cassie's murder, Brian filmed her at school.
Cassie. Hey, look, I don't know. Hello, Cassie. I'm getting you on tape, okay?
We analyzed that tape thousands of times. We watched that tape time and time again.
Say hi, please. Hi. Okay, see ya. Wait, have you seen Tori?
And the look on her face, you know, it's chilling.
He's supposed to meet me here at 7:30, and it's 8:19. He's an hour late. You don't even care, do you? Okay. See ya.
It makes you sick to think that they were videotaping her knowing that they were going to brutally kill her that night, and that she was a friend. She'd done nothing wrong to them except befriended them.
On the 24th of August, 2007, Both Brian Draper and Tori Adamczyk were sentenced to life in prison for first-degree murder and 30 years to life for conspiracy to commit murder. Pocatello now honors the memory of Cassie Jo Stoddart with an annual autumn charity event. The proceeds go to the food bank and animal shelter. The event is called Pumpkins for Cassie.
It felt really good to be able to look at the family and have them look at you back, knowing that all of the hard work that was involved in this case paid off.
In 2005, Scream's own director Wes Craven was quoted as saying, "Everybody's making horror films, and to me, not especially well. I don't know if it's due to the corporations taking over the studios or what it is, but it really calls for some young filmmakers to come in and just do something from their hearts." He could not have foreseen that a year later, Cassie Jo Stoddart would be killed in a tragic copycat crime.
Don't blame the movies, Sid. That's what Skeet Ulrich says. Movies don't create psychos. Movies just make psychos more creative.